What's up, fam? Matthew Sewell here, Real Estate Plug, and we are here live today at the Cookies campus. And I couldn't be more excited to share with you what's good in the neighborhood today. So, I've got some very special guests. This is a very special occasion. This is the 420 episode, and we are again live at the Cookies campus. As you can see it. Can you see it? I can see it. And it's about to be dope, literally. So stay tuned for what's good in the neighborhood. What's up, fam? Matthew Sewell here, Real Estate Plug, with another episode of What's Good in the Neighborhood. And I'm super excited about this one because 420 is right around the corner. So this is the 420 episode, and we've got my friends and family in the cannabis space here. So we'll go around the table, and we'll start with you, Ashok, and just everybody's going to introduce themselves. And let's get into it.
Yeah. Hey guys, my name's Ashok with Guru Cannabis Co.
Damian Lynch with the Yellow Brick Group.
I'm Matt with Midzotics.
Oh, I'm TT with Euphorium.
What's up, y'all? I'm Bryce Savoy, also with Euphorium.
Okay, and so we'll start here. So how did you, with your company, how did you get started?
Yeah, so my mother actually started the company in early 2016. I grew up smoking, but the thought of me being in the cannabis business was never in the plans for me. I had people who grew up, selling in what we know now called the legacy market, and I just thought that wasn't the thing for me. But my mom started this, and I started to see the real business behind it. But more importantly, not a lot of people look like us in it. It really encouraged me to really want to help out and really be a part of a family business, and I haven't looked back since.
So real quick, who's your mom?
My mother's right here, TT, the boss lady, the queen that brought me into this world and let her tell it could take me out
We'll
of it.
take him out.
Same thing.
I started this in 2016. I had been laid off from my job. I had money set aside. It wasn't growing very fast. I was at home raising my youngest son as a stay-at-home mom, and a girlfriend called me and was like, "Have you seen The Breakfast Club?" The game was on The Breakfast Club, and he was just saying how cannabis was about to be legal. I was so removed from the process, I had no idea. So I said, I could do that, because before doing this, I spent 20 years selling pharmaceuticals and biotechs to endocrinologists, cardiologists, nephrologists. That's what I did. So this is a natural progression. Since I graduated from college, I have sold drugs.
Oh.
Legally.
Oh.
Legally. Since I graduated from college, I have sold drugs legally, and it's worked well for me. But I have to say, this is like the best. What we're doing now is the best, and especially since my son came in. I'm really excited about that because it not only strengthens us as entrepreneurs, but it strengthens our friendship as mother and son. So I'm still mama, though. Don't get it twisted. But our friendship has grown by leaps and bounds because of this.
That's lovely. So my mom doesn't. Here, I'll take that. So my mom doesn't smoke, and she is completely against it.
Yeah.
When did you start?
Okay.
When did you start smoking?
From when Bryce was graduating from high school, I remember popping in when he came in the house for being high. Don't come to my house high.
Yeah.
It was a big thing. And then when we went through this process, my mother was a huge Christian, and as I'm.
Yeah.
And I just said, "Mommy, will God honor this business?" And
Yeah.
she said, "If it's the law of the land, you're fine."
Okay.
And we've operated within the law of the land the whole time. So. I had to change the way I felt about it. I had to decide how I felt about it. If I felt shame around it, then I probably shouldn't be doing it. If I felt like it was okay, let's do it. And then when you get into it, like Bryce is in Oaksterdam right now, doubling down on his information, but as you get into it, you really see how it really, really helps people. Like, the potheads, I love them, though I am one, but the clients that need me for health reasons make all the difference in the world to me. And that's THC and CBD clients.
All right. So mom, it's the law of the land, the Bible.
Yeah. God created cannabis, don't get it twisted.
There you go. It's kosher, yeah. Halal.
Yeah, all that.
So I'm Matt from Midzotics, and most of you all know us from our flower brand that's in all the dispensaries in the Bay Area, and we also curate Riff Raff's brand, Riffzotics, and you'll see Riff Raff coming back to the Bay Area May 18th to the 20th, Santa Rosa, Sacramento. He'll be doing meet and greets, smoke and greets at select dispensaries with his new Riff Zotix line that we are curating for him at some of the spots from around the Bay Area. Friendo is going to be one of the places we're sourcing from, and Natura is another place in Sacramento that we're going to be sourcing from. And but what we are up to now that's the most dynamic, the thing that I'm most excited about is Clones to You. It's spring, it's summer. Everybody wants to have their little backyard boogie, their little 6 plants in their backyard, but where do you go to get them? You come to us. You can go to the dispensary, and they'll have them, but they may not have all the answers to the questions that you have. So we will not only sell you the clones, we will bring them to your doorstep, and you can also sign up for care and maintenance packages where we will take care of your garden. You can do nothing at all but brag and show off to your friends, look how cool my garden is. And you will be the talk of the town and the coolest of all your friends, have 6 different strains of weed, and at the end of it, if you don't know what to do with it, we can also help you there too. We can dry it, harvest it, package it, and bring it back, and you can have Match Reserve in special little jars just like this to give away to your friends and sell to your friends, and we can turn you into your own ganjapreneur through our...
You just sold me. You just sold me. Sign me up.
Yeah, and so our delivery is called the Farmer's Flower. The name is apt for what we are up to, and the website is clones2you.com, and so you'll be able to go on there, pick your clones, we'll deliver them to your house, and there'll be different packages. There'll be the gold, silver, and the platinum. You know, the platinum is you're not going to do anything. We're going to do everything. The gold is you're going to do a little bit of work. And then the silver is you're going to do some work. And so that'll be priced accordingly. And then when it comes harvest time, we can take care of that for you as well. So we really want to sell the service, not just the plants, to make sure that you're successful. Because if you're spending $200 a month, say, at a dispensary, you can pay us $200 a month and grow your own, and then stop buying weed from the dispensary.
Yeah.
Now, you'll probably still go to the dispensary to buy the gummies and things like this, because you can't make these things. These are high-end manufactured goods. But raw flower, anybody and everybody can and should be growing their own weed in their own backyard, and put a little money in your pocket, have some fun with it, learn the game, and then share it with your friends.
Are you running for mayor, bro?
Not for mayor. Not for mayor. I might run for mayor if this business model takes off.
I'll vote for you, man.
I will. I'll need every vote.
Every vote counts, they say.
They sure do. So clones2you.com. If you need clones, check out our menu. We'll bring them to your house. You don't have to do anything at all, or you can do some of it. So that's
And
what.
growing at home is totally legal. Like, I'm totally allowed to have a plant.
Yes.
It is.
I
Six.
do want to. Okay, I did want to get there. But we gonna jump in right now. So go ahead. Go.
The law is 6 plants. Everybody can grow 6 plants. But you know, you can have 6, you can have 6, and you can have 6. Everybody can have 6.
You get 6.
So my motto is grow your 6 and blow up the backyard. And also, no one's checking. There's no Karens running around it. Hey, you've got 7. You've got 7. Not happening. Buy 6 today, buy 6 tomorrow, buy 6 the next day. Put 18 in the backyard. You're going to screw it up anyway. You're probably going to kill 2 or 3 of them unless you pay us to do it for you. Can you imagine having 10 pounds of weed at the end of harvest?
I can imagine.
Yeah, and what would you do with that? You would sell it,
Yeah.
as you should, and pay your bills, because it's totally legal for you to sell weed to your friends.
Oh, is it?
Absolutely, this is America, baby.
I love it.
Now, what do you mean legal? Like, what does that mean?
Oh, you can buy and sell weed from person to person.
Okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that. It's an
Is
ounce.
there a limit
I
that
believe
you
it's-
can legally distribute to your friends?
I think it's an ounce.
Okay.
Yeah, don't quote me on
Yeah,
that.
don't quote me on that. Don't quote me.
But you know,
on that.
there is no pot police running around, deciding who, selling weed to my friend. Hey, you want an eighth? You want an eighth? What'd you grow in the backyard? What'd you grow in your backyard? You grew 6 flavors. You grew 6 flavors. Let's trade.
Sounds like a farmer's market.
Yeah.
It
At that
does.
point, it sounds
It
like
does.
a farmer's market.
Well, there was a time in this country when everyone grew hemp. Everyone grew hemp.
That's true.
And it was almost required back in some of the colonial ages because it was a raw product that the colonies needed.
Constitution.
And if,
Yeah, it was
and
written on
if
hemp.
you weren't growing something in your backyard, you were considered, like less than. Like, why aren't you growing shit? You should be growing food, growing hemp, you should be growing all the things. And so here we want to provide a pathway for people to do it and succeed at it, be proud of it, and engage in it in a level that you're comfortable at. Like, I know a little bit,
I'll do some of this work. I don't know shit. I'm lazy and I got money. Do it all for me. We can do that. Or you know what? I've done a lot. I'll just buy the plants. Thank you so much, and I'll do it myself. You can play at any one of the levels that you want. We just want to offer the pathways for everybody to get involved, and everybody should be growing in their backyard. Because if you don't know, there's a shortage of weed this summer. There's a shortage of weed. I said it. I said it right here. I said it first. Prices are going up. There's a shortage of flower. And if you're growing in your backyard, you'll be paying some bills Croptober time.
October. There we go.
So there you go.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Damien, how did you, you got a
Yeah, I
mic
don't know how
already.
to. Okay.
You got a mic already. don't you?
Yeah, I don't know how to follow that up. Over here. But Damien Lynch here with Yellow Brick Group. We are a creative agency out of Sacramento, and I mean, interesting enough, I'm probably the only one here that doesn't directly deal with flower or the plant.
That make you the smartest one here. It would make you the smartest one here.
We're again a creative agency. So we started off in 2018 with kind of the background services that me and my other two founders kind of have, and that we all brought to the table. Myself, I came from event production and like large concert production, music festival production. That's my background. My partner Sean, his background is marketing and apparel and branding. And then my partner Curtis, his background is really varied from skating. I think he was a professional skateboarder at one point, to a DJ, to now a designer, graphic designer at Yellow Brick Group, and he is the lead designer. So the three of us kind of brought our skill sets together in 2018 to launch, Yellow Brick Group, a creative services agency. We started off with restaurants and bars and things of that nature, worked with some nonprofits around Sacramento. And then sure enough, within the first maybe 6 to 9 months, the founders of Connected ended up walking into our doors, and we ended up closing just a multi-year deal with them to service their branding needs. And that was around the same time that they were bringing on Alien Labs. So we inherited sort of that brand as well from a marketing standpoint. So really since probably middle of 2018, we've been pumping out all the creative for those two brands. Everything from billboards to the actual packaging on the jars or the Mylars, to Instagram content, media content, to back end menus for the sales team and internal things, apparel, etc. You kind of name it. If it needs creative, we've been the ones to fulfill that work. And we've worked with a lot of other creative brands too in Sacramento and around the region. We were talking about Friendo a little bit ago, Drops, State Flower, just to name a few. So, we kind of stumbled into the cannabis industry. Being in Sacramento, it's kind of interesting how Sacramento is really ground zero for a lot of great cannabis, a lot of great indoor cannabis, and a lot of great cannabis brands. So in hindsight, it was probably only a matter of time before we stumbled into the industry. Luckily, my partner Sean, we went to high school together. He got kicked out for smoking weed. So we know that collectively, and Curtis being a skateboarder and whatnot, kind of like if you grew up in Sacramento, you're gonna have a connection to marijuana. So it kind of was a very natural fit for us, and we've had fun along that path. We do other stuff outside of the cannabis industry, but it's a pleasure to be here with all of you and talking about cannabis. So.
That's what's up. That's dope.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick. So, what kind of stuff do you do outside of cannabis?
So
You said hotels a little bit, restaurants.
we do. We work with a lot of hotels on just content creation, everything from their Instagram account to internal campaigns that they might have going on. We work with Epic Games to do all of their internal swag. They have a employee base of over 5,000 people, so they have internal programs where they collaborate with people like Vans and you name the brand, they do collaborations with them to release products that are only available internally to Epic Games employees. So we work on that. We've done some work on Fortnite and other things kind of adjacent to the primary work we do for them. And then the thing we're probably most known for outside of cannabis is the night market that we do.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk
in
about
Sacramento.
that.
So it's a long story, but to keep it short, my partner Sean, he's half Chinese. He's been around the world since we were kids, back and forth to Asia, and within the first 6 months of starting Yellow Brick Group, he looked at me and he said, "Hey, why doesn't Sacramento have any good food after 9 o'clock and things of that nature?" He lives downtown. And his idea was to just throw a night market. He's been to plenty of them in Asia that go all night. They're every single weekend. They're massive. And we started doing research, looked around the country, and there are night markets around the United States, Miami, New York, LA, Portland, I think has one. Started doing our research, and then we pulled off our own that year in 2018. Just thought it'd be a fun thing to do. Didn't think much of it. It was just kind of a gift to the community that we're from. And we thought we'd do 1,000 people or so. We did 12,000 people on one block. And so within 3 months, we turned it around, did it again. And the second time, it did 28,000 people. And then in 2019, we did it again. This time we took up like 7 city blocks. It was this whole thing by this point, and we did over 50,000 people on the third one. So
How much did you spend on marketing, Damien?
0.
No money on marketing.
Yeah, no money on marketing. Again, this was not really even supposed to become what it is, but it's a massive thing now in Sacramento. So then in 2020 the pandemic hit, so didn't do it for 2-3 years. Brought it back last year. Did 35,000 people in our first one back. So it's an outdoor food-based event. Sacramento is a farm to fork food centric city. So we have over 50 hot food vendors, over 15 to 20 prepackaged food vendors. We have like 30 dessert food vendors. We have a whole street of just bazaar type, merchant type vendors. We have activations. We have a 2,000 person silent disco. We have multiple DJ areas. We have like 4 or 5 outdoor bars on the streets. We have an art area of live art going on. It's a lot. And an outdoor arcade too. It's pretty cool. Yeah, we have an arcade.
Crazy.
And we start at 5 and we start at 5 on the street and we end at 1 a.m. So it's a real nighttime vibe. That it's Sacramento's hot in the summer. So you get that evening kind of vibe going in the summertime when everybody's tired of being locked up inside all day because it's hot. And it turned out to be a really great event. So we're probably most known for that outside of cannabis, and that really, I think to your question about marketing, that event is our marketing. That's how we kind of look at it.
Yeah.
That event really, again, it was more of let's just pull this off as a case study, as a proof of concept, because producing an event is really like starting a business and opening it in one day and then closing it the same day. You have to brand it, you have to market it, you have to come up with messaging, you have to secure a venue, you have to work on permitting, you have to work with fire, you have to work with PD, you have to work with city officials, you have to work with neighborhood P-bids, you have to work with businesses, you have to work with insurance people, you have to work with sound guys, dancers, fire breathers. You have to work with so many people in the production of an event like that, and then you have to budget it correctly. You have to project things correctly. You have to do all of those things, and it happens in 6 hours, and then 8 hours, and then it ends. So in that process, we obviously market Yellow Brick Group and all of our services, because if you're able to pull something like that off,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
then you can virtually do anything. So we've brought in a lot of business through that effort, and it's been good. So. Yeah.
I feel like there should remind me to get one of the sound effects.
We should just be lighting a beam up.
Yeah, I know, light the beam. Yeah, light the beam.
Well, it's a philosophy we have at Yellow Brick Group, which is every brand we believe should have their own Super Bowl moment throughout the year.
Yep.
Your own Super Bowl moment. You should have at least one moment throughout the year where all of you can open your Rolodex and call every single important person that you know and invite them to this thing.
Yep.
Because we all know we have events throughout the year, we do things throughout the year, but sometimes they're smaller, maybe neighborhood focused, and you may know a famous person, but you're not going to call that famous person to come to your neighborhood event. So you got to have something on the docket once a year where you can call that famous person or that really important person. Their time's limited and they're only going to do something that's worth it. Having something on the calendar where you can focus all of your marketing muscle and really show what you got in one day, we've found to be really useful.
So I'm going to take this time to say, if you're trying to plan your own Super Bowl moment, I know somebody that you can reach out to that can help you plan it, who's a master logistician. Here we go. All right, Ashok?
Now I gotta follow that.
Yeah, absolutely. Get to work.
Well, I think it's cool going after TT and Dame, because like your guys' relationship is really cool to me, because like my parents immigrated here in '89, met in Berkeley, and had me in '91, and they were like super Reagan era, and so like they still are not comfortable with like what I do now.
Wow.
And so like just seeing you two is like, oh, it's like so sick.
For sure.
And kind of leading it, you sold pharmaceuticals, and like I kind of jumped into the space because I watched like my dad's health deteriorate from he had like chronic kidney failure, so he's had kidney failure 3 times, had 2 transplants, like
His grandfather had that too.
so he's gone through that. Like me growing up as a kid, I'd be hooking him up to I'd have to run home from school to hook him up to dialysis bag, catch the Baxter load, unload a pallet from Baxter, like do that whole situation, and I just never wondered why it worked. You know, and obviously like weed doesn't fix all the stuff, but like you kind of just look at the medical system and you kind of see it as a business, and you kind of see people get like turned into numbers essentially, or like you are as good as your insurance card and your health card, and that's like your ticket to life. And kind of watching that happen, I was like studying chemistry and I was like really into science and stuff, and so like I waited till I was later to smoke the plant, and like I'm glad I waited a little bit longer, but like once I learned the science of it, I jumped like fully into it. And so I've been in Sac since 2005. So you know, like this guy right here is a
Sacramento,
celebrity.
let's go.
But from Oakland, and so it's kind of cool to get a room with everyone together. We're in East Oakland right now in our facility, and I left like. Being an immigrant kid, it's like doctor, lawyer, failure. And I obviously didn't do either of those. And so I dropped out of school and like chased this dream in 2014.
Wow.
13, 14.
Wow.
And we actually started delivery in Sacramento, called Ganja Guru. That's why everyone kind of knows me as like Ganja Guru. That's like kind of been my nickname for a while. But and now the brand's just Guru as we've rebranded. But I started delivering in 2014, and the focus was a farmer's market. We'd go to the farmers, we'd source the cleanest, healthiest stuff, bring it back, and it would rotate every few days. So it was always fresh. People had a great menu, and that was the era when CBD and like the Harless Sue, the Candace Sue, like all that CBD, cannabis-derived CBD was being grown. And my buddy was growing for Kiva at the time. This was Kiva Oregon days, and so he would be capsulating this CBD stuff, and we'd bring it back. And we had a program where, you know, like there was a lot of parents that would call in with kids with seizures.
Wow.
Like a lot of people like towards end of life care, people that are dealing with cancer. And like, I'm not saying I'm a doctor or anything like that, but you give someone something, you ask them how it makes them feel, they tell you it's helping and something else isn't helping, and you start to see, you know, we probably had 40 or 50 kids that were, you know, like having seizures, or people with Parkinson's and MS and just all these different ailments that are so common to everyone. We all get old, we all deteriorate, and like most of the stuff we're given doesn't do anything to really like help you or fix it, or has some side effect. And just kind of like 3 years of just seeing that kind of happen, like there was no way I wasn't gonna stop what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
I think that makes you a doctor. I have to change your name in my phone.
yeah, no, please don't do that. You're missing a lot of people. You can start giving people hot dogs.
Take 2 hits and call me in the morning.
But that was kind of like what started the whole like itch the bug, and now our focus is like hyper focused on farming resin for solventless hash, or resin in general. So now when I look at this plant, I'm not looking at like how big is that weed gonna grow, or like how much flour is it gonna make me, or how much square foot of money do I get per that. I'm looking for like the little crystals and the trichomes where the medicine is, right? Because when you combust weed, there's a trichome that you're setting on fire, CO2 and O2 is released, and then what's burning is the chemical compounds that's in there, right? So if you're releasing that into your bloodstream, you know, it's a hot process when you're smoking it, but the medicine is in that ball, it's in that juice. So for me, it's like I just want the nectar, the juice, without any of the other stuff, right? So we use ice and water, and we fresh plant freeze our gardens.
Good
we
Lord.
grow in organic soil outside the big 1 liter.
Yeah.
You know, and we focus on just building layers and flavors, and like the same way of what you eat in your body and what you put into your body is like the same things that like, you know, do you want to spray your garden with your tomatoes with specific pesticides and then have to deal with washing it off maybe later?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or would you rather just grow it organic in the first place and
Yep.
eat it right?
Yep.
So our whole energy now from being a direct-to-consumer delivery business for the first 5 years to pausing our retail to converting to all of our energy into the garden to make sure we're producing stuff that we deem to be on the quality of like what we want. We're proud to put out, and we've gotten lucky this last year. We actually just placed top 3 in probably arguably the biggest hash competition in the world.
Wow.
That's actually the trophy right here.
Wow, that's a trophy?
Yeah.
So what competition is that?
It's called the Ego Clash.
Ego.
And it's a mixture of they call it that, but the irony is that everyone actually like sheds their ego together. It's
That's
kinda,
tight.
It's kind of like a blood sport.
Okay.
Remember Jean-Claude?
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme, yeah.
So it's like blood sport and like Fight Club,
Okay.
but it's invite only.
So you can't talk about it.
70 of the best hash makers in each category.
Wow.
So you get the best makers in each and on each side of the
And you
table.
said you placed first?
Third.
I only heard first.
Third. No. That's on the wall as a goal. You know,
Okay.
this piece
Knock
would be
it out.
bigger if it was first.
Yeah.
But I'm
Congratulations.
glad the 2 homies that got are home. You know, I'm coming for it.
Yeah,
So like
that's
I,
yours.
I grew up in an athlete competitive, so I treat this game the same way I do now. So, you know, now that we can say we're an award-winning hash farm and we're just now getting to hit the market, you know, we'll be coming back with a direct-to-consumer list where everything that's grown on the farm will then be able to be delivered directly to your door, and we'll have just like a fashion house or a music production studio. You know, we're putting out EPs or albums. We're going to be putting out summer, winter,
yeah.
all those different batches. You know, and you'll get the story of each one, and you'll get to follow the journey in the garden and see that whole life cycle of what happens. And so we want to be able to tell the story and glorify the plant. So because a lot of people are desensitizing that, and they're just turning it into a consumer packaged good, and there's no more like realizing that someone spent 6 months,
Right.
3 to 6 months of their life,
Right.
where you're pouring energy and effort into this vessel, and one mistake can ruin all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like when you desensitize that to like a Coca-Cola or a beer, when it just like
It's not the
that's
same.
not why we're in this.
Yeah.
You know, we're in this for the plant for much different reasons than that. So our energy has been far more focused on like after you've gone through the ringer, after you've kind of figured out what's good, what's not good, and you have that discerned palate, like we're waiting for you.
So you are in the hash space.
We farm.
You farm.
hash, yeah.
You farm. Okay, so like what does that process look like for you?
As in like different for flour?
Yeah.
Well, like it's more of just like feeding and plant management and care. So like a lot of things that you see in flower production, and when you're growing for flower, you can like spray the plant with certain, not to say all pesticides are bad, there's plenty of clean stuff that you can use, right? Most of it is insecticidal soap or some sort of citric acid or something like that, right? That's just something to wash off the leaves in case there's any bugs or PM or any of that stuff. And so for us, we'll use like predatory bugs instead of like sprays.
So like what, ladybugs?
Ladybugs are like the entry level. They're good for aphids, but then there's different types of mites you can use to fight mites.
Yeah.
And so there's biodynamic organic warfare that can happen that doesn't require the use of like pesticide-based cultivation.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, California is 90% ag.
Yeah.
How much of the world's food do we produce?
Yeah.
If you just took all the cities in California, it's really nothing and it's all ag. But how much of that soil is fertile? Probably only Napa, because they don't allow the same type of cultivation practices that excuse me, the big ag system follows. They're buying nutrients and pesticides, all this large ag stuff, but it depletes the soil life. Right? If you go to the jungle or the rainforest, there's no pesticides there. There's a system of balance
Yeah.
where nature
working
has
together.
already
Yeah.
figured things out.
Yeah.
And so our goal in the garden is to emulate nature. We feed the soil, and the soil is what feeds the plants.
Yeah.
Right? And so between that and just like really being meticulous of like how you handle your plants also,
Yeah.
like don't touch my nugs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't
Okay,
touch that.
yeah.
Like, that's where my crystals are.
Yeah.
That's
the
where my
best way to
resin
think of
is.
that.
It's like a huge thing of water balloons that are really sensitive, right? There's a billion water balloons on that plant, and each one's a different size,
Yeah.
filled with a different amount of liquid.
Yeah.
And if you flower too late, then those balloons start to explode and it becomes catastrophic. And then you can't harvest the hash for that process because it's too far gone.
Yeah.
And if you pull it too early, then there's not enough development. It's all stalks and no heads.
Yeah.
So instead of like looking visibly at that flower, like, yo, this is ripe, you're looking at the resin head. And remember Jurassic Park? Remember the dude's got the mosquito and the amber?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the-
Yeah.
and the-
Yeah.
It's kind of like your trichome head will go from clear to amber during its 60 to 90 day life cycle, right? And depending on at what phase you're trying to harvest or what effects or what flavor you're going for in your garden is when you're looking at your trichomes to harvest. And as it goes from clear to cloudy to amber, it's up to you to be able to harvest it at that perfect moment for that perfect flavor.
Yeah.
So it's a little, I wouldn't say it's more detail oriented because all farming is detail oriented.
Yeah.
It's just we have a specific niche on what we focus on instead.
Yeah.
Because guys like Alien Labs that produce boutique flour, the best flour at scale, and some arguably not even at scale, but just the best flour.
Yeah.
Their focus is that, right? And like this is like our focus because we don't have 1,000 or 10,000 lights to keep up with that. We only have, maybe a quarter acre total between two gardens that are 5.5 hours apart with one being off grid.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't just walk into a room and flip on a switch.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm pulling water from a well that like 2,000 feet away and then I gotta go, you know what I'm saying? It's way different.
It's detailed,
So
it's very
when-
different.
I feel like when you're outside, your plants are outside, it's under the sun, it's getting fed the right way, you can taste the difference.
Yeah. So that gives me another question. So you guys are in the delivery space. So are you growing the things that you deliver, or how do you choose what you pick for delivery?
So I do all the shopping for the business, and for me, I just look for a sweet spot, like whatever the product may be. If it's flour, then I do pretty well with a greenhouse. If I'm lucky enough to find a really good grower that does indoor, I'll grab that. But overall, I'm just looking for value. And I was explaining to him, like with my clients, we spend a lot of energy with them on high THC. They really care about THC percentages, but I know both of you will be able to say there's certain strains that will never go past 20, but it will lay your ass out.
Yeah, sure.
So I feel like I want them to understand how to pick flower in a more empowered way, how to use the labels. Like I was explaining to him, I want them to not only look at THC, but to also look at the total cannabinoids. And if you're lucky enough that a grower did terp testing, I want them to know how the different terpenes make them feel. That will make you more empowered to make decisions when you boo on you if you're in a dispensary because I'm supposed to be delivering to you. But if you're in a dispensary, I want you to be able to make the best choices. And that's that.
So
Can I say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think this is something that tackles a lot of the space.
Yeah.
But like when you go to a liquor store, do you buy the alcohol with the highest percentage? Because
No.
otherwise, Everclear would be the number one selling
Yep.
alcohol.
I had a little period of time.
But that's kind of how you see
Yeah.
people that don't understand the plant come
Yeah.
into a store and they shop and they're like, "What's the highest percentage?"
Yeah.
And you're like, changing that paradigm is going to take a few years
Yeah.
because that's the number one thing the branding and the marketing and things are leaning on.
Right.
That's what they
Because it's
want.
what sells the product. When we get emails from distribution companies, it's organized by THC percentage, and the pricing
how
is
they-
relative to that.
Based on that, yeah.
And so until the entire supply chain starts to educate people and move people towards that, because it's like someone that doesn't know about the plant that's educating someone that's selling customers, and then it's just a long game of telephone where no one knows what they're talking about. And so I think like once people realize, maybe look for terps, maybe look for that, maybe listen to your senses, like go in there and smell everything. Your body, if you like garlic and you smell garlic, you're gonna enjoy it. But if you don't, your body's gonna go away from
Right,
it.
right.
There's a lot of things like that I think with education comes.
The other thing is like everything's not created equal. Like you may love Blue Dream, but everybody will grow it differently. There's no guarantees that Blue Dream will be exactly the same, and there's no real, like everything is a hybrid. We have a couple of landrace strains that are guaranteed sativas or what have you, but for the most part, everything's a varying degree of hybrid. And again, it's just a lot, like you said, it's a lot of heavy lifting. But people like myself, who also doubles as a bud tender for their clients, we're the ones that's going to cause the paradigm shift. We just have to keep on pushing, keep on teaching, But then we get good information, like learning stuff from YouTube helps us be better when we're in front of our clients,
Right.
And I think the best part about it is, honestly, people are always happy for me. when I come. They're always happy to see me. I'm either bringing relaxation or relief. So they're always happy to see me. And I do have to say that after spending 20 years in big pharma, I work for Pfizer and Gilead. Wow. This has been the most gratifying experience. Yeah, because when I was selling pharmaceuticals, I sold cardiovascular drugs, and they were so expensive that people would really have to choose between their medication and food. Wow. Now, my grandmother was in a situation, I could send it to her because I had samples, but what about your grandmother? Yeah. Right? So I always felt guilt because they were paying us very well for what? Now I no longer feel the guilt. Even with the new taxation, I know I can help you get to where you need to go. You give me a condition, and I'll give you a solution. And I tell my clients all the time, cannabis is as safe as it ever can be. You know, no one has ever died from cannabis. I may have wanted to die a couple of times. So I had a brownie or something. I prayed to die when I ate too much edible. But overall, you can't go wrong with it. It's beautiful. You can't go wrong with it. And that's just my soapbox. Sorry.
And I think something that you said too, something that you said too is just kind of like finding your niche, right? We're a small mom and pop shop, and a lot of the bigger businesses, whether you're dispensary or delivery service, you can't. It's just like if you order food, you go to Uber Eats. You don't know who your Uber Eats driver is. You just know you get the food, close the doors. It's a transaction. I think what allows us to be able to do in this space, because we're small and because we're nimble, whether it's my mother or myself or my cousin or whoever is in the family that's delivering, you see somebody that you can talk to. We know our clients' birthday, their kids, if they have kids, their dogs, if they have dogs, and we really are on the mindset of creating community, and building community and really making our clients feel like family, not a transactional relationship, but a family. And that's kind of our niche, where we've been able to find and continuing to fine tune and find ways to make our people who shop with us feel like family. And that's what we try to root everything in, because it's important to us.
That's lovely. You said something real quick, and absolutely, go ahead. So you said dogs. Now, I know that there's like CBD stuff for dogs. Do you guys also?
We have it. We have it right now, but we typically do carry it.
Okay.
And I use it for my own dog.
Wow.
When she's anxious. Yeah. When she's anxious, or like they're great for I used to have an older dog. He's I had to put him down now, but it really helped him with his arthritis.
Okay.
It's also great for dogs like on 4th of July where they have anxiety because of fireworks and things like that. So honestly, it's just across the board. When I was in college, when I had him in college, and I was in college, I didn't know what I was smoking. Who has 5 on a bag? And that was what it was. It's either Bama or it's good. It's either bad weed or good weed, and that's that. And now there's so many iterations. It comes in so many different ways. That overall, it's been a joyride. Really, it feels good to know you're really helping somebody. I go to deliver, and I have clients that are hopping from one foot to the next. They're in so much pain, physical pain, and they need this cannabis for their medicine. It feels good. Now, Bryce mentioned that we know we're like family and friends with our clients. A long time ago, I was so stressed out over ease. I can't beat ease. Ease can get it cheaper than me. Ease can be quicker than me. Right, but I started thinking about it, and I was like, I can't compete with them, but they sure in the hell can compete with me when it comes to service. So that's where we hang our hat. That education, service, and just an overall positive, supportive community.
It's beautiful. I think we're seeing some of those people kind of phase out now.
Yeah,
true. First 5 years in, you don't see as many ease billboards anymore. And I think that how many licenses are left? 400 retail total. So if you think about that compared to how many liquor stores there are in 3 miles,
or nail shops,
or nail shop, you know what I'm saying? And so there isn't as much lack of access, and as small operators like all of us continue to keep pushing forward, I think it allows the local communities to learn more about us and support us more, because we haven't had that $10 million to spend on marketing like every other cannabis company has. Like if you look at every billboard between SAC and the Bay, we can name the same 3 companies that have paid for those for the last 5 years.
For sure.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
I think now as you build that family and you build that, it's not like, you know, you can go to Rayleigh's and Nugget and Safeway and you still need eggs.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, like people are gonna continue to shop with us because you're adding more than
Right.
the product, but you're adding a community or a family value add or
For sure.
service or any of that,
Service, yeah.
because none of them are gonna care
Right.
as much as we do.
And that was the thing. That was not only can they not provide the service, they don't have the inclination to provide the service. That's not their desire. It's going to be harder for us to scale it up
Yeah.
because it's so personal. But I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it at all.
I mean, I think as long as you continue doing,
Yeah.
you know, the things that are working, right? You said education, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna, I got questions in a second. As long as you continue to educate people, they're gonna keep coming back. And a lot of these businesses are like relationship
Yeah.
businesses,
Mhm.
right? It's not just, you know, one transaction and be done.
Yeah.
You want to say, you know,
We want
okay.
a real relationship. I don't want a one night stand. I
Yeah.
want a whole relationship. Yeah, I tell my
Yeah,
clients
yeah,
that.
I'd rather stay and play.
Yeah.
Okay, but you said education, so I'd like to go around the table and see, like, you know, what's the biggest thing that you've learned being in the space, and also because I know you said you grow for hash, right?
Yes.
So like, what things have you learned in growing? And I know you're in the same space too, right? Like, what things have you learned in the growing process that you would say has saved you a bunch of time, or you think would be more impactful to someone who's looking to start growing?
Less is more.
Okay.
I've learned that, you know, you can save money by not hiring a professional, but sometimes there's a cost to not hiring a professional also. You think it's gonna save you money there, see what it costs you to not hire a professional.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one thing I've learned. And then the other thing I've learned is that shit happens, and it's gonna happen, and you're gonna have to either be the person that's gonna persevere and push through that.
Yep.
And if you're not that kind of person, then this isn't the game for you.
Yeah, you gotta get down.
Yeah, there's no crying, and there's no quitting in cannabis. You know what I mean? You're gonna cry, and you might want to feel like quitting, but if you're that kind of person,
Yeah.
then just go do something else.
Yeah.
Because this is
Don't come in here expecting to make
don't come in here. It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be, you know, this
So
is
much money coming
Yeah,
in.
there's not. It's low margins. You got to be in this because you love doing it.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I'm obsessed with my brand. I'm obsessed with my business, and you can't be in this unless you're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Because
You can't be
otherwise,
successful in business, period, without being obsessed with your business,
Yeah, I mean,
especially if you're small.
agreed. And I mean, if you're making a whole lot of money, that's a motivation to stay in it. But that's not on the table as a reason to be here right now. And that's why a lot of people aren't here. And we've seen a lot of the biggest companies exit the whole West Coast. Buy Canopy, buy these big corporate companies. Hope the door hits you on the ass with a doorknob right in your asshole. Get out. You know? And get out. You know, you're not here for the right reasons.
You really feel?
Yeah. No, I've been seeing these corporate chads and these people coming with their money from other places and other stuff. And that's cool. Like, well, we're all thousandaires sitting here at this table. We're all thousandaires. You know what I mean? And these are the people that have the grit that are going to keep the industry going. And those corporate people are going to go to these other emerging markets and do the same thing there and decimate it and push out small people like us.
Because they can go months and months in the hole.
They can.
They're set
Operating
up
in the red,
to.
yeah.
That's already. Yeah,
They can lose.
Yeah.
They can lose money if they have it in the
They
budget.
can lose until they freeze the rest of us out. They can hold on and lose it. But you know, I look at your product and I see how beautiful it is. And I listen to everything, so I know it's a good ass product. But I know that if it's just an extract, I can get an extract for $10 a gram. They ain't all created equal. And I was
absolutely
explaining to
not.
Bryson, I was like, I don't want to do the race to the bottom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My shit is not going to be the cheapest shit, period. Because if it was only priced, there'd only be Little Caesars. There'd never be any Zachary's or Blondies in Berkeley. There'd only be Little Caesars, right? So somebody, I don't need everybody.
Yeah.
We're small. I just need a few somebodies to believe in what we're doing.
And see the value, right? So you'll always have people that are, you know, oh, you know, what's this price? This place got it. This place got it cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, but people will pay for value.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times you can't put a price tag on.
You can't.
Right.
You can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, this is like, I'm saying this is high quality. I can think of a brand, I'm not going to say the name of the brand, but I can get a stat size for $5 from a brand. You know the brand is the biggest one. The shit ain't the same.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to understand. It's not the same, you know. But that's my job.
It's crazy because, like, you know, doing retail, I'll throw a few brand names out there. And, like, since I'm not running retail, no one can hear me. But, like, you know,
Drop 'em, go ahead, drop 'em.
if you have Raw Garden, if you have, like, some of these brands, and you have them on your shelf, you're moving 30x of those to, like, one high-end live resin or live rosin. you know, and it's crazy because like you almost feel bad watching people smoke this stuff, and then you're like praying they'll eventually figure it out, and some of them never do, and that's okay. 'Cause some people need to smoke Coors or drink Coors and drink Bud Light forever. But I think there are people that get like slightly obsessive or passionate about things they like, and that's when you kind of get them along this trail, and then
That's your customer.
someone that's into wine, and then like goes from a cork top to like learning the vintages and the elevations and the times and
With
being
an
like,
expensive
oh,
refrigerator now.
exactly,
Being
and-
obsessed with it.
exactly, and I think that's where there's so many people that consume cannabis, and people are gonna get tired of smoking mids eventually. Not except Exotics will never get tired of smoking.
Not to be confused.
Smoking my marketing.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, everybody, I've been saying this for a long time.
Yeah.
Everybody has mids. Everybody can go get mids. Anybody can go into a distro and get a 20-pack and a 20-pack and throw it in a bag. It's my marketing that sets me apart.
Yeah.
That's what's the differentiator.
Right.
Anybody can go buy a Wonder Bread race car outfit on Amazon.com for $189.
Right.
They're on there. I got 12 of them, and every one of my employees has one. It's what you do with it that matters. You can wear it one day a year on Halloween and trick or treat, or you can wear it 7 days a week and trap.
It's why PBR is PBR.
Yeah.
It's a
You're
a
looking at the
shitty
drink
beer,
it down.
but you're gonna feel a little bit cooler because it's a PBR can
Yeah.
versus of course.
Yeah.
Blue Ribbon,
One of the
yeah.
best-selling beers in the world, right?
Yeah.
The best-selling $2 beer.
Yeah. So
They're in cannabis too, by the way, Paps. I just
Yeah.
saw that.
You have a drink.
Say
That's
hi.
new.
Yeah.
They have some
That's
drinks.
new. So you said marketing, and I have a question for you since
Yes.
that's what's in your space. So what's the biggest lesson that you've learned, in marketing, coming from, doing 100,000 people plus with no money spent on ads?
Well, I guess like specific to cannabis, it's the same crossover I'd say, which is the biggest thing is just being authentic to yourself. Like as corny as it sounds, being true to you, like you are. You're owning it. Even internally at Alien Labs, Devil's Lettuce is one of our favorite brands because they're owning the fact that they're using smalls. They market it as a sort of lower tier brand,
skaters.
but for skaters, and they own it, and they very much are who they are, and I think that's how you penetrate a market. At the end of the day, coming into marketing and specifically cannabis in 2018, from the rec market to into the rec market. The biggest thing that we saw at that time was everybody was going after the proverbial soccer mom. Everybody thought the white middle class, now that it was going rec, the soccer moms were going to flood the market, and that too, I think,
That was a TV
barrage.
show, right? What TV show was that?
Soccer mom?
Probably Weeds, which I never watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody, even in,
Did you play soccer, Bryce?
yeah,
Shout out to Dr. Dina, the real.
Yeah,
the
Dr.
real-
Dina.
Dr. Dina, the real weeds.
yeah. But yeah, that is where we saw, or at least what we saw. Everybody thought the market was going to go towards back then. And in those connected meetings at that time, I remember like as the potato was being passed across the table in terms of this conversation. Connected made a real concerted effort to basically stay true to the streets. Basically stay like more of a more street type of brand. Kind of leaned into the fact that the Migos and other people like that were representing their weed and songs. Obviously, the history with Burner and Cookies is very much a part of their history. So the connection to hip hop, the streets, things of that nature. Instead of diverting from that, once rec came, there was very much a concerted effort inside of Connected to lean into that. When you saw all these other brands kind of coming for the general mom market that they thought was going to come to bear. So staying true to yourself, and I think the cannabis industry is just it's so unique. It's very much like the skateboarding industry in a way. Like outsiders are not really allowed in, and if they are, you get called out pretty quickly if you're not true to the game, and if you're not true to yourself, and you don't know who you are. I can't tell you how many times we've been on calls with different bigger brands, MSOs, et cetera, and you have people coming in from the food industry, from Chipotle, from the exercise industry, and they may have had success there, and then they think the same kind of principles are going to apply in cannabis, and it's just not the case.
We can tell the difference.
Yeah.
We can tell the difference. And if I see you mall grabbing your board, know the difference.
So that's kind of that's kind of the lessons we learned in cannabis. But then in terms of just general marketing, I think the same rules apply. Like the night market, for example, the way that we approached the way that we kind of hunted down our partners and our sponsors and the people that we knew we wanted to be involved with. Because we're from Sacramento and we know the market so well, we knew what logos on the flyer were going to hit. We knew what breweries to go contact. We knew what bars to go hit up. We knew who the movers and shakers were, and so we just put together what was our sort of dream event. And then, I already told you guys the story. It went wild. So I think just knowing your market, knowing who you are, staying true to yourself. The night market itself, it's doing tens of thousands of people. There's an urge or even an opportunity to turn this into a music festival, or turn this into other things outside of a food market, which is what it was always intended to be. So we've really made sure to keep the arcade and the silent discos and the entertainment parts of it sort of ancillary parts, and while letting the food really shine and be a part of that, because that at the end of the day is what's bringing families and kids and grandmothers. Everybody can enjoy food. Not everybody's going to play the arcade or do the silent disco or do all the other things. We found a lot of success in just being fucking true to yourself, true to your brand, having a North Star. And if you're gonna be corny, be corny. If you're gonna be all about, skateboarding, be all about skateboarding, or whatever it may be. Just know that you're coming at it from a genuine perspective, and we've found that tends to be a winning formula.
I think people can sense that too when you're not being authentic, right? When it's
Yeah.
like a gimmick, people can sense that.
That's true.
But Bryce raps. He's a musician. He's been a musician now for like 15 years?
20. Yeah, this year is 20.
20 years, and he's done tours and all this stuff. And when he first started in college, when he first gave himself a name, he had a different name, and then like maybe 5 years ago, you just became your name, Bryce Savoy.
2017, yeah.
The beauty of that is no one knows how to be Bryce Savoy better than Bryce Savoy. And it's the same thing what you're saying, It's like a writer. When they write their first book, they're going to write about the city they live in. They're not going to write about a city they don't know anything about. You write about what you know. So that game plan will be easier for me to follow because I know how to be me. I've been me for 53 years. I know how to be me.
Well, like when you said, you had a realization that you may not be able to compete with ease, but they also cannot compete with you. And that is
I got that
exactly
from
it.
basketball.
Really?
You know why? Because short players bring something. It's hard for a short player to be guarded.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Y'all quick on the ball. It's hard to guard.
They can't tell on camera. They can't tell on
A
camera.
big can't guard a small though.
We all
A
understand
big
that.
can't guard a small. A big can't, right? That's what they call barbecue chicken, right? That's what Steph Curry says barbecue chicken when he's a big on him because he knows he can dance on him. And it's going to be hard for you to take a ball from a 7-footer. Yeah. But you use what you got to get what you want.
Yeah.
That's just your skills, whatever your skill sets are.
Skill set is.
And talking is mine. So that's why I ended up here.
Lovely.
Yeah, basically. Too much.
So I have a question since you got Mixotics on, and actually, so you guys worked with a connect of mine, Bub, who did the video.
Bub's up,
Yep. One of the
out,
homies, yeah, and Skylit Studios, Colt 45 was Hannon. How did you get connected with Riff Raff, Mr. Jody Hyrola, Mr. Jody Hyrola himself?
Do I have a story for you?
Give it up.
Oh, here we go.
So
I absolutely love Riff Raff. I decided that one of the elements of my marketing campaign, one of the hallmarks is rappers, rides, and redneck vibes. That's the tagline for my brand. And the rappers element revolves around me impersonating my favorite white rappers. And I went down the line, and me being an actor, I turn out to have this ability to be able to rewrite a rap song like Weird Al Yankovic used to. Remember him?
Yeah.
I was gifted this by God, this talented ability to be able to listen to a song, change all the lyrics in my mind. I don't know how I can do it, but I can do it. So I decided to recreate the battle between Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly in the mid-2000s over who was better. Right. And so I rewrote Rap God to Mids God, and I rewrote Rap Devil to Mids Devil, and I make my characters battle each other in their own manufactured Weed War rapper beef.
We were record.
And I dropped Mids God on World Star, and it's on there now as Mids Mathers. And tomorrow I'm recording Mids Devil as Mids
It's like
Marshall Mathers, but a mid-grade version of him.
Okay, I love it.
Everything I do is mids. Everything. And so
You
I
like
do
Snoop
I
like
do
that.
mid-grade impersonations of my favorite rappers. And so I did Mids Mathers first, and I dropped it on. I sent it to World Star, and they were like, "This is hilarious. You're trolling cookies and Runts." And I had Runts bags in there, and I'm poking at Stingy, and I'm poking at all the rappers who were trying to get into weed. So I was kind of trolling all the rappers who were trying to get into the weed game, the Moneybag Yo, like all of them at the time. And I was poking at Young LB. He's the homie now. And I was poking at all those guys. I was like, "Oh, you guys are in the weed game, but ain't nobody ever changed a reservoir before. Ain't nobody ever really did shit in the game." So I was like poking at them, right? And so I was like, "Okay, how about this? How about if I get into the weed game, I slide up into your lane? How would you feel if I got into the rap game and made a mockery of what you do one time for the one time?" Well, that's what we're going to do. And Mids God drops tomorrow. So I sent it to World Star. Like, "This is hilarious. We're gonna put
We're gonna
this
be
on."
looking for it tomorrow.
And go to World Star Hip Hop, type in Mids God, you'll see me in my weed farm. I rewrote that whole song word for word, syllable for syllable, trolling all the other rappers getting into the weed game. So then, one morning when I was doing my prayer, meditation, talking to Jesus and smoking DMT, all the things. Jesus is the homie. And I had this download from God. It was like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to impersonate all my rappers. And so I did that. I executed on it, and then I went down the line. The next one, Riff Raff, my number 2 favorite rapper. So I created the character Mids Raff.
Okay.
I got my cornrows did. I got my silver shark teeth grill. And then I rewrote tiptoeing in my Jordans to flipping packs in my Jordans. and I called his manager up, and I said, "Hey, I want to impersonate Riff Raff, and I want him in my music video, standing next to me, looking like me at my weed farm." And he was like, "Well, Riff doesn't really like being impersonated." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I want him in my music video," and he was not really enthralled with the idea of a 40-year-old dude who's not a rapper just impersonating him for what? Like, why the fuck am I gonna fuck with this guy? And I was like, well, I already did the song. I already bought all your merch, the Vanilla Gorilla jersey that Justin Bieber loves to wear. I was like, "I got it." He's like, "You bought all of our merch?" I was like, "I bought all of your merch. I have every piece of merch from the Jody High Roller collection." He went into the back office. He goes, "You just placed a $1,000 order yesterday." I was like, "I'm doing this with or without you. So you want to get in my sandbox?" He goes, "Send me the song." So I sent him the song. He goes, that's not bad. He goes, "Are you a rapper?" "Are you a rapper?" I was like, "No, I'm an actor, and I'm a marketer, and I'm the chief entertainment officer of my own company. That's what I do." And he goes, "Well, how about this? I'm going to call Riff Raff and send him this." So Riff goes to my page, sees that I've been low-key trolling him for months, poking at him, impersonating him. And I went into Dr. Green Thumb's dispensary dressed like Riff Raff. The employees put tiptoeing in my Jordans on the screen, so I spit my whole shit a cappella behind the counter. Be Real reposted on his story. Yeah, but it's like I'm in his dispensary, and so he saw it, he reposted it on his story, so now it's become a thing in the ether. I manifested it, now it's fucking real. Wow. So then his manager's like, "This guy's insane, and he's gonna do this with or without us. We should probably just like get a hold of it and like steer him." And
at least
he's like,
in there
he goes,
a bit.
"Riff has a counter proposal for you." And I was like, "Ooh, does he?" And I'm like, Riff Raff is a fucking genius. He's a fucking marketing American icon.
From G's to Gents.
Exactly.
He didn't go from G's to Gents to not, you know what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah. Red carpet with Katy Perry. The guy's a legend.
He was on that show?
So he counter proposed this. He goes, rather than me do a mid-grade, impersonation of his song, he counter proposed, what if we do a whole brand song about Midzotics on Jody High Roller Records, and you could be featured on it, and then become a real rapper out of your troll. I was like, oh my checkmate! Riff Raff is a fucking genius. He counter proposed something more genius than what I thought I came up with. So he saw the genius in me, my Mids genius, and checkmated me with some real genius shit. And I was like, yeah, let's definitely do that. His manager like, you ready to be a rapper? I was like, fuck yeah, I'm ready to be a rapper. So I went from impersonating him and trolling him to then we did a song. He came to my farm. We shot the music video. We did a full merchandise collab. We did a marijuana collab, the merch collab, and the music. I got all the M's, all three. Then we dropped all the product, and we used our delivery, and we delivered Riff Raff's Ultraviolet Pirate weed on the Ultraviolet Pirate music tour. For the first time ever in the history of the world, a rapper had his own weed compliantly and legally delivered at every single show in succession around the state of California. Not even Burner has had that done. Now, everybody sells Cookies weed, and Cookies weed has been sold at other events, but not at a multi-tour, multi-city tour in succession, compliantly and legally. And
He's
we did
selling
that.
flower and merch like
Through our delivery, yeah. So we did Sacramento, we did LA, we did San Francisco, we did Arcata, we did Fresno, and in every one of those things, our delivery had Riff Raff's weed there for Riff Raff's fans to buy right there at the show.
That's
You
crazy.
can buy, and his tour was called the Ultraviolet Pirate Tour. So this is the first time that's ever been done, and it was done with the green armored canavan that will feature a little bit later. I have a bulletproof armored bank van that I bought, and I wrapped it lime green, and it's fully armored. It's the world's first weed ice cream truck model. And I pioneered this in 2015 before you were even allowed to do this. It was not a thing.
I was thinking after the night market.
I already did it.
Night market, first thing I was thinking.
I got it. You can use my van. I got 2 service windows in there. It's fully armored. I got the van. I got
I
the
think that
van.
was 2 years ago, you know, and so like I feel like we've always played with like unique models with the delivery license because we were operating delivery compliantly from the first day it came out, and then you realize you're competing with these, and these guys can spend $100,000 on one SKU to get pricing lower when you're only spending $2,000 to buy that. Then it costs you $24 or $26 to deliver it. Costs them $7, and then you realize that you're in this game that you're never gonna and
Never gonna
It's
win.
worse than you think.
Oh,
Because
trust me,
Ease
yeah.
has 180-day terms.
yeah.
Ease sells all their shit before they pay for it.
Yeah.
They have 180-day terms. That's 6 months.
And we can't compete with
We
that.
cannot.
So
Nobody's
with-
gonna give me that.
and that's where we started getting like creative with the delivery, understanding the logistics of it, and we've done partnerships with the AC Hotel in Palo Alto across from Facebook. You know, we've done a social club there. We've done
Breakfast of Champions.
Breakfast of Champions, which was if you know in San Francisco, it's a New Year's Eve,
Use day.
New Year's Day day party in SF. And when the city signed off on cannabis consumption there, we were the first cannabis lounge to sell compliant cannabis delivered at a music festival in San Francisco. Like, and we set it up, and we had all of our friends' booths there. We had Midzotics there. We had Friendly Farms there. We had I can't even remember anymore.
Lots of
But, like,
brands.
We had like 10 brands there, and so we've been trying to engineer unique ways to compliantly work the set of rules they've given us using the one of 400 delivery licenses there are to find creative ways to do stuff that those guys aren't willing to do.
That's what we are
Because
right
this
now.
is how
That's-
we will survive is by him and then
different ways
him with the
to do
You
geo
can't just wait for
geo
orders to come in.
metro.
It's not gonna work.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
it's not
so
gonna work.
no one's coming to save us. They're all waiting to watch us fight each other to go out of business.
Yeah, and everybody else stepping in.
And
For sure.
and they're like you said earlier, they have enough capital to burn for the next 50 years to watch us go out of business.
Yeah.
So like what are we all gonna do now to compete, knowing that that's here?
That's the
you know?
thing.
For
I
us,
think.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say there's another ripple for us because we're black owned. There are so many black families who have been affected by cannabis.
Oh my God.
By going to jail, now you can't get a job when you get out, and all this kind of stuff. I'm sorry. So I really feel some kind of, and I want you to know how, like I really feel this. It sucks to me that we have hardly no place in cannabis. I know a young guy who I met through our attorney when we first started, and he literally had been on the cover of Newsweek and Forbes for cannabis delivery in Oakland's amazing social equity program. He's out of business. He just couldn't make it. A couple of us.
Back up
Yeah.
real quick. You said he was in Newsweek?
He was on the cover of
On the
either
cover of Newsweek and Forbes.
and Forbes, maybe inside Forbes. He was on the cover of one of them as the face of Oakland's black cannabis. Remember when they came out with the social equity program? It's
Yeah.
never been done before.
Can we talk about that real quick?
Sure.
So what is that exactly?
Okay, so Oakland came out. We had a city council meeting probably mid 2017. They passed out papers to all of us, and I looked at it, and it was like the first figure or diagram said that blacks go to jail 400 times more than whites for the same crime, black and brown. For the
400 times more.
for the same thing.
For the same
yeah.
crime.
And when I saw that, I was like, now remember, I'm 53. Okay. When I saw that, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna try to do reparations because that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And they did. I don't know if it was the best way to do it, but what they did was they came up with a social equity program. And they essentially said, general applicant, if you want to have a place in cannabis, you got to help somebody who lives in these cop beats, who have been unfairly arrested over and over again. You got to help them get into business, and what that means, you have to pay their rent for 3 years.
Wow.
Which is not very American.
Yeah.
It's not. So it set it up to be kind of adversarial, you know. So I feel like they should have probably done an incubator because I'm college educated and I did a lot of stuff, but I didn't know shit about running a business. So I made a lot of costly mistakes in the process, you know. So I think an incubator would have been better because a lot of the people in the equity program are no longer in business, you know. So I feel I'm like, I'm going down fighting. Huh?
What percentage do you think
It's-
of people that have gone out of business that came from the equity program?
At least 20%, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
probably like
At least
20%.
20.
1 out of 5.
1% of all
probably.
licenses held in the state of California, all cannabis, are held by minorities.
Only one.
Less
Only
than
one.
1%.
Yeah, that
Now,
sucks.
for
That's-
black, brown, and Asian.
yeah, that's not cool.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's already low enough.
Yeah.
And then the way, like she said, the way the equity program was set up, you know, I'd say 90% of the equity licenses that are either operating or thriving right now are someone else that came in and bought out the equity situation, or they were there and then the equity person fell off and now they're the one that, and so there's a lot of like a lot of the big MSOs and things like that
Yeah.
really were sending headhunters here to find those licenses.
Wow.
Yo, find the equity, give us someone that we can put as a name and a face for this thing. Okay, what do we got to pay them, or what do we got to give them to just fuck off? And then,
Wow.
you know, like that's really what's happened with most of the licenses. Like
It got monetized.
70% of the licenses in NorCal are in Sac and Oakland.
Yeah.
See, now, City
You
of
know?
Oakland should have done something about that.
Yeah.
They have to help, like, they have to level the playing field. They really do. It's not fair. They have to level the playing field because we have been hurt so much by it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think,
Yeah.
I think too it's tough because unfortunately the way our history in America has been set up, we don't always have the education and expertise on how to like run certain things. So I think not the city's like well intentioned in creating these programs, but unless you have, like you said before, like unless you have the persistence, like I'm the type of person that I'll figure something out. If I don't know it, I'm humble enough to be able to ask questions. I'm humble enough to call day after day, email after email, and just be persistent. But a lot of people don't have the capacity to do that, which we understand.
Yeah.
And so in order to be able to make it and still be here 6 years later is something that just speaks to the perseverance and grit, and like you said, that you have to have in this space. And one of the things that I was thinking, because you asked earlier, what's one thing you learned? I was thinking about that, but hearing everybody talk, I think one of the things that I've learned in this space and being here is that you can't be everything to everybody.
Right.
Once you just figure out what's unique to you, find your niche, and really just dominate that, that is when I think you'll find success in this space. And I'm really of the belief, honestly, now I'm like more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm in this space, that this was never meant to be something commodified. The cannabis industry, but we live in a capitalistic society, so that's a part of it, right? But I think if you're going to be in this space, you have to remember, the intentions of it is a plant, which should be to heal. Yes, you want to make money because this is a business, but the goal is to heal, to learn, to educate yourself, and really understand people, from all walks of life and all colors who really risk their lives and freedoms to really grow and be in the background of these farms to create a plant that they can use to heal people.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that I think about in this space. I know it's a lot of ups and downs. You're having to, spend money, and it's not a return on investment all the time. But the return on investment for us is to be able to have these conversations, to be able to really see our people face to face that we're actually treating and healing by using these products, and that's what keeps, I think, myself and my mother as well, the service part of it.
Yeah. So we lightly touched on something of how it's disproportionately, good Lord, disproportionately affected people that look like us, right, in the space. So being that you guys, are in the space, what do you think should be done moving forward for people that look like us? How can more of us get into the space, and then how can more of us be successful
I think something. I think Mom had this conversation a couple days ago because I go to a lot of these, cannabis events, and a lot of times I'm in these spaces or we're in these spaces, and I'm disappointed because there's a lack of us in these spaces. Right? We provide the culture. We're there. We're having a good time. But the people who are running the show don't look like us. But also on the other side of that, I know personally, but not just from afar, that there's people that look like us that are in the legacy market that won't get in because we're overtaxed. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make business sense.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if we weren't in it and invested so much time and energy, it's not like a sensible thing if you look at it from a business. So I think a lot of people that would be in the legacy market are afraid of doing it because of the taxation, because of the over-regulation, especially in California. So I think that has to change.
Yeah.
We have to, make an infrastructure and a system in place for people to actually come in and thrive and turn a profit if that's, your goal, which should be amongst other things. But I think it's just going to be hard until that changes.
Yeah.
People are going to stay, doing what they do because they can do that.
Yeah.
This is not a friendly market
Yeah.
for even, I went to 5 colleges and I'm consider myself a highly educated person and I find it very challenging.
Right.
And I'm sitting here doing metric and fucking paperwork and applications and all this fuck shit and I'm like, this is set up to fail.
But I feel
It's
that
fucked.
way too. So I'm just like,
That's a sign-
I
that's
have
a
to
good
remind
point.
myself, you chose to go into an industry that was not regulated.
Right. Yeah.
Because you said something when you spoke, and I think the number one thing is being adaptable and flexible. So you got to know how to
pivot,
pivot.
yeah.
That's what you talked about, pivoting from retail
Don't
to
be
water.
water.
Yeah.
Be water.
Be water.
And I'll tell this to the people in the culture. If you're not trapping, you're not trying. Real shit. You know what I mean? Like the market is not set up for people to win, no matter how smart you are or how much money you have. Because look at the big corporations who have all this money and they're still fucking failing. So like,
It's a lot of brands.
you have to be dynamic. You have to pivot. You have to be obsessed. It takes a certain ingredients
Right.
to be successful, and I think the cream is going to rise to the top, and it's going to be a very select amount of people who are passionate, obsessed, and have a team of support around them with some smart people around them. Like I've had to surround myself with people that are smarter than me because I'm like, my brain just doesn't work like that.
Right.
I just can't do that shit. Someone do that QuickBooks shit for me.
They can't do something creative, so yeah.
Yeah, you get to a team.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I feel like the way the system's set up in Cali, like, it's not cohesive to eventually changing to add people in.
Yeah, it's
Because like
not.
alcohol took 100 years to regulate.
Yeah.
And now we have Instagram and social media and the way things move now. So cannabis is being sped up to the same type of regulation of alcohol within like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And they're not printing more alcohol licenses or more liquor licenses. And if you look at cannabis right now, they're shrinking this as quick as they can. They're consolidating as quick because they don't want to add any more licenses. So like if you're
Why do you
really
think that is?
passionate,
Why do you think that is?
It's less work for them.
it's less work for them as a
Oversupply.
brand new formed group to like herd cats. You know what I'm saying?
Less
Like,
farms to visit.
Yeah, less
Yeah.
farms to
Less
visit.
people to interview.
Less
Yeah.
people to deal with collecting taxes and fees
So less work
and
to do,
bills from.
basically.
And so like
That's a
if
good
you're
point.
truly obsessed and you really want to do it, find the company that you think it represents like what your goals are in the space and put in the work that we all put in the work to get here, But like if you think it's gonna change and shit's gonna be sweet in a few years, no way. We're gonna have to fight tooth and nail every day to survive now to eventually be like, oh, these taxes are livable now.
Yeah.
And we can finally take a salary.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
happen in a few years when it shakes out
Yeah.
and they figure it out and they have 5 years or 6 years of studies and tax
Yeah,
revenue
yeah.
and be like, oh, 2017 we did great. Oh, 2022 we lost 300 mil.
Yeah.
What are they going to do this year now to like help incentivize
Yeah.
this? I think the most simple solution is lowering the taxes. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Right. But right now, over 35% of every jar that's sold goes into the state's pockets.
Yeah.
The farmer ends up getting 6 to 8%.
That's crazy.
Retail takes about 25-30% if they're doing full
That's
margin.
crazy.
If they're doing full margin, not counting the cost of selling it.
Yeah.
Right? And so if the retailer's barely making anything and the cultivator, producer, processor's barely making anything and the state's taking 35 to 40% of it,
Guess who ain't gonna be making nothing? The state ain't gonna be making nothing
then
eventually. 'cause I gotta
how do
quit.
you expect them to generate the tax revenue that they talk about when no one can afford to go buy a $97
Hey,
eighth?
ain't that some
Or-
bullshit?
or like-
That's crazy. Even the top, your cannabis.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not
they're not
anyone's
doing it.
fault. It's
Yeah.
not the producer's fault. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not their fault.
Good old
Like,
California.
We're doing our best to make things as price sensitive as we can, but like, You know, the math, most people don't understand like how the math works and like what happens. If you have a $25 wholesale item, you go to Walmart, they sell it at a 1% margin.
Right.
$25
They can
wholesale
afford to do it.
item.
Yeah.
You pretty much 1.3 to 1.42 is the multiplier, so it's $7 to $9 that you add just before the markup that goes to the state and the city. Okay, so that 25 then becomes 33. Okay, then you got your 10% city, 10% state, and then you got to double up or whatever your margin is to keep it alive.
Excise 27%.
So then if you're
Yeah.
going from 25 to 33 to 39 to 45, then boom.
Yeah.
That's why you get that $75, $80 product, because you got to make a margin on
Yeah.
that $45 of cost of tax and fees.
Yeah. It's crazy how, so you mentioned taxes. It's crazy how you can be miles. So Oakland to Emeryville, right? The taxes are crazy. It's like almost 3 times, right? What are the taxes here in Oakland for?
I think it's down to 5% now?
Okay.
It used to be 10.
Yeah, it used to be 10. It was 10.
And now it's
when
5.
Emeryville was like 3%, I think is what it was.
But
Yeah,
the
it
city
just-
doesn't even hurt half as bad as the state excise.
Yeah.
Like if you look at
Yeah.
the state
Like
excise
27%.
tax,
It's ridiculous.
if you look at alcohol and tobacco,
Yeah.
it's like 3 cents of a carton, where equivalent to us, it's like $17 a jar.
A vice tax kind of.
So it's
Yeah.
like if you just had excise tax,
Yeah.
let the cities eat.
Yeah.
Let the cities get 15, 20.
Yeah.
But like excise, when it's calculated, they calculate it on the assumed margin of your product. So the state is like, yo fam, we know you're gonna make 60% margin on this, so we're gonna implement this tax procedure just for this.
That's crazy.
Where it's almost like an attack on said commodity. If that happened to alcohol or cigarettes right now, people would be rioting in the streets. If there was a 10% extra.
Where are
There'd be a
though.
huge black
Where-
market
yeah.
cigarette,
Yeah, yeah.
and black market alcohol
Yeah.
would be stronger than ever. And
Yeah.
real shit, the black market of weed has never been stronger.
That's what he's saying, though.
Never
Yeah,
been
it's
stronger.
better, actually.
And you know, I
That's
got
the
some
color
advice
they-
for anybody who wants to get into the weed game. Get
Yes.
the fuck out of California.
Yeah.
That's the
I
first
would-
thing you should do.
I would not.
California, fucking out of here, first off, and take your knowledge and go to an immature state, an emerging market. Take your knowledge. If you got weed game here in California, you're plugged, you know the culture, you know how to do some things, but like the paperwork is just ridiculous, which it fucking is. Get the fuck out of California. I'm looking at other markets. I'm looking in New York. I'm looking in New Jersey. I'm looking in Maryland. Pack your shit and get the fuck out. And this is a message
You'll be ahead
to
of
all
the
the regulators at the BCC, the DCC, Gavin Newsom, all you clowns. You're overregulating the shit. Stop it. We're leaving. People are leaving. You're fucking it up. And people are leaving.
Yeah.
Big corporations are leaving. $1 million corporations and mom and pops are leaving too. That's the problem. You made it too difficult and too expensive to play, and now nobody wants to be here in this party anymore.
How is it in like the other states, like in?
It's amazing.
Like Colorado, like states with
That state's sewn up in a way because they were the first. New York is like the wild east. This used to be the wild west 10 years ago. New York is where it's at. New York is popping. Maryland is going rec on July 1st. My brother lives in Maryland. I'm looking there. Two of my classmates from high school got speakeasies in D.C. I grew up right outside of Washington, D.C. my
to
first
Howard,
21 years.
both of us.
Okay, my brother went to Georgetown.
Okay.
And I grew up in Fairfax, Virginia.
Yeah, right.
Virginia's tripping right now. You know, they got this Republican
Virginia,
governor.
though.
Yeah, Virginia's on some bullshit. And they were the first southern state to go medical, only then to have their clown ass Republican governor backpedal on it, and now they're trying to ban CBD. Like, what are you tripping? You're gonna ban CBD? That's stupid. So now all the money's gonna go to DC and go to Maryland because these mental midgets can't figure out how to do it. But what they're really trying to do is what they're trying to do is figure out how to let all their rich white friends figure out the taxing shit first, because I know my own people, right? And they're gonna try to do some bullshit. And they're also trying to figure out how to get the DUI shit in place, because God forbid they have, all these stoners and like, and black and brown people driving around smoking weed are gonna have all that. They're trying to figure out the DUI thing with the retinol thing with the eyeball. That's what they're trying to fucking figure out in Virginia. You don't see any other state trying to do that.
They put
You
all
don't see
the
any other
energy
state
into that,
trying to wait to figure that shit out. They're like, tax the shit out of it, unfortunately, and regulate it, and then let the people smoke. And that seems to be the MO.
For me,
Not in Virginia, though.
For me, I have mixed thoughts about what's it called, legalization. because I work for Big Pharma so long, and I know that as soon as it becomes legal, Big Pharma's gonna come in because it's such an incredible fucking compound.
They're already
You
here.
know,
That's what I'm saying, they're
it's kind of
already
like going to Cuba. Like I want to go to Cuba now because if the doors ever get open, Marriott's gonna be over there, Sandals gonna be open. It's not gonna be any different than any other island, right? So it's the same type of thing with this. Can I just say this though? I thought we were coming here to do a podcast. I came here and learned a lot. That's the whole point.
You learned a lot. You thought it was just, yeah, no, that's my.
Just getting my juices flowing.
You hottest weed podcast right here. Right here.
Oh, friend, you need one.
Yo, you're one of my favorite celebrities right now.
You don't do
Sure.
TikTok reels?
Yeah,
You
man.
don't do TikTok reels?
I don't. They're getting that shit done. I'm glad I didn't put any money into TikTok. I did one TikTok reel. I was smoking weed in my first one. They fucking banned me.
Oh, wow.
First one, man. They can't have kids seeing this crazy ginger smoking weed. I had my shark teeth grill with a joint in the middle. Because I got a fake front tooth, I can take it out. And I put the joint where the tooth gap is. And I'm smoking this joint on TikTok. They're like, you're banned for life. Fuck out of here. So
We've
fuck
seen you
TikTok.
around.
Yeah, fuck TikTok. Fuck
The world needs to see you.
Can you believe that? Is that
We've been
fucking
seeing me,
run it?
but I got a new series coming out called Legal Trapping.
Okay, that sounds
It's coming
good.
out called Legal
On
Trapping.
YouTube,
It's
or-
going to be on YouTube. It's how we built our brand, so people want to know the game. It's free game.
Yeah.
I'm putting out free game of how do you do what I did, and I saved this because I don't want people to have all the secrets right away and go to all my plugs up front.
Right.
But now that I'm where I'm at, I can show people the game. Now, you can't go to those same farms, but you can do this in Oklahoma, in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And you can go to any of these other states and take the formula that I did
Yeah.
and then go do it. And
Why
then
we create
go
the
to the
deal.
branding house, figure out the Mylars, go to his place. You know, where's the Rolodex? Well, a lot of it's sitting right here at this table. But I put it into a media thing called Legal Trapping. We're going to drop it soon. It's going to be everything that I did from day one.
Lovely,
go.
lovely. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for that.
Some of it's legal, some of it's not.
Okay. And on that note, I think now would be a good time to just go around and drop your socials, let people know where they can find you, and what kind of dope stuff you got coming up in the future.
Cool. You follow my personal page at Ashok the Guru _, and then the brand page is Guru Cannabis. This will be the first season. We're going farm to door. So get your slurpers ready, get your bangers ready. We're coming hot for the market. I would say this summer at the earliest, the latest this fall. And just pay attention to the garden, pay attention to the genetics we're popping. I know we were talking about staying water earlier. I haven't even said this out loud yet, but we had
Exclusive? Is this exclusive?
we had the worst storm in 100 years, and we had our entire farm in Humboldt completely destroyed.
Wow.
All 4 years of greenhouse building, and then we have one metal building that has all of our stuff that broke too. So
Wow.
I've always been pretty quiet on social media, but there's going to be a lot of you're going to see the rebuilding and some of the grit it takes where the game's hard enough as it is, and we've been building this for 4 years, and now Mother Nature's undefeated, and now we got to pick it up from here while things are going nuts. So, I think pay attention to the YouTube, pay attention to Instagram. We're gonna have a lot of cool, exciting media coming up. We're working on our Super Bowl of an event. Yeah, when you said that, I got so excited.
I like that one. That was dope.
We're working on something at Art Basel in Miami. So
There you go.
if
There it
can-
is. There you go.
I'll drop it now. Oh my god.
That's like my worst
So,
fear in life.
all right, it's not OSHA compliant.
Oh shit.
I'll put it out in the universe now, so it's happening.
Let's go.
Art Basel, Miami, Guru Cannabis, smoke some hash with us on the beach.
Let's go. Let's go. That's gonna be fire.
Personal Instagram is Dame for the win, so DAMEFTW. You can find me there. But yeah, we got the night market coming up this year. We're really excited about. We're implementing some new things into that. You can follow Yellowbird Group, by the way, at the handle YB Group. No, it's Yellowbird Group. We just figured that out earlier. It's just Yellowbird Group spelled out. I use the email more than I do anything else. But yeah, Yellowbird Group is the handle. You can follow us there. And honestly, we're just excited to keep working in the cannabis industry. I think I'd love to continue conversations with everyone here, off the record, especially when it comes to events. And again, we're open for business. So yeah, that's us.
Midzotics is the brand, and my personal Instagram is Shotwell Legal Trapping. And you can see our series on YouTube coming out soon, Legal Trapping. And we're going on tour with Riff Raff here in May. So if you're in the Bay, Sacramento, or Sonoma, follow the socials. Come meet Riff Raff, come meet Jody High Roller, and then burn one with the Mids Gang.
Let's go. I'm excited for that.
Miz gang.
We can find us on IG at Try Euphorium. That's TRY, try, EUPHORIUM, as in Mary.com. We are not your child's delivery service. We're the grown-up alternative. Give me a call and I will take care of you in ways you don't understand. It's fun to me. I love to give you something extra. When you come to us, you'll never want to go to another place again. Thank you so much, my child.
I got the mic again. Yes, I can follow that up. But my personal Instagram, Bryce, BRYCE Savoy 510. Like my mother said, Try Euphorium on Instagram as well. And I think for us, of course, 420 is right around the corner. So we need your support. We're going big. TryEuphorium.com, and we're also working on a documentary to highlight black businesses in the space called Black Grown. So be on the lookout for that soon.
There we go. That's lovely. I'm excited. Thank you, everybody, for coming, for sharing your knowledge, wealth of knowledge. Everybody here is a boss in the space, and I'm extremely excited that you guys came out. Extremely thankful, grateful. So thank you. I look forward to seeing some collabs out of you all.
I'm about to start cooking now.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point of this, right? Like, y'all my friends and family in this space. This is my little brother. He's my new family. All of y'all know Noah. That's my little brother. My newest little brother. Y'all are really family. So I really want, my family to click with my family and share this with our neighbors.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the platform.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. So, we're going to cut it on that note. Thank you. It is I, Matthew Sewell, your real estate plug, and you have seen what's good in the neighborhood. Peace.